Hello students, welcome to video class of English, and today we are going to discuss about the verb, and this is part of speech, one part of speech or word of speech. As earlier we had discussed in our first video, and that was for the 9th class and for 10th class. So we have earlier discussed, and you must have read in the previous classes about the parts of speech. As we study 8 parts of speech, briefly I tell you, like noun, pronoun, verb, adjective, adverb, conjunction, interjection and preposition. These 8 parts of speech help to form a complete sentence. So today we are taking one part, that is verb, and that is very important part of English grammar. When we study English grammar, whether it is in 9th class or 10th class, so verb part is very crucial part. If we study verb part, we can at least understand the meaning of sentence, and we can construct a new sentence, we can understand the sentence very well. So this is our topic. When we talk about verb means what you understand by the word verb. It means when you do any action, when you do any activity or any movement, that comes in the verb. And apart of that, many times we see, when we talk about the verb, there are type of verbs like regular verb, irregular verb. So when we talk about irregular verb, regular verb, then definite verb, indefinite verb, and one is transitive verb, intransitive verb. According to their use, we have divided the verb forms, the verb, into many parts. So here I am going to discuss the use, according to the use, the part of verb. One part is called finite verb, and we divide into two forms, two parts, and the other is non-finite. So what do we understand with the word finite and non-finite? Well, these are French words. Finite means you understand something limited. Non-finite means unlimited. So there are few verbs which are finite and other are non-finite. So it depends on the use of the finite verbs and the non-finite verbs. Now, if you do not remember the name finite or non-finite, doesn't matter. We have to know the use of the verb forms, and I think the use, the topic verb, in this way you are going to study the very first time. So finite and non-finite. What is difference between the finite verb and the non-finite verb? Very easy, very simple. Don't confuse and make it more complicated. So let's I write here few example of the sentences, then I will explain what is difference between the finite and the non-finite verb. I play. One sentence. Okay. I played. I have played. I will play. I am playing. Well, these are examples. Now, see, I play, I played, I have played, I will play, I am playing. So, students, in a sentence, how we identify the finite verb and the non-finite verb? Very easy. The verb which is used with the subject, that is called finite verb. Whether it is present form, past form, infinitive form or whatsoever. The very single line definition, the verb which is used with the subject of the sentence, that is called finite. Well, so here see, play, this is finite verb. I played, finite verb. I have played. Now see, have is finite verb, not played. I will play. So will is finite verb, play is not a finite verb. I am playing, so am is finite verb, playing is not finite verb. Now once more, see, here play is a finite verb, but here play is not a finite verb. Here played is a finite verb, here played is not a finite verb. So after the finite verb in a sentence, non-finite verbs are used. Understand? Well, once again see, the verbs which are used with the subject, and the in other words, if we want to make it more specific, then you can understand the verb which, the first verb in a sentence, the first verb in a sentence is called the finite verb. So here we have seen a few examples like play, played, have, will, am. These are finite verbs. And now see, here played, play, playing, these are non-finite verbs. So by the term, with the term, you have you can make now understanding of the finite and non-finite verb. I have told you only identification. I have not told you the use of the finite and non-finite verbs. First, how you identify a finite verb in a sentence. This is the way you can identify the first verb in a sentence is called the finite verb, whether it is present, past or any other. So you have seen here few examples, and rest of the verbs in the same sentence are called non-finite verbs. Well, now the thing comes, we have identified the finite and the non-finite verbs. Now what is the use, what is the difference between finite and non-finite verb? According to use, according to place, we make some difference. How? Let's study. I'm writing here, so you can see these examples also. Well, as we know that the first verb in a sentence is called finite and the rest of the verbs in that sentence are called non-finite verbs. Now, what is the use of finite verb? Finite verb helps to make a sentence, and sometimes finite verb plays as a linking verb or auxiliary verb, as you can see here. Have is auxiliary verb, linking, helping verb. Will is also helping verb. Am is also helping verb. So finite verb, you can say, sometimes help to make the sentence, or non-finite verbs are used according to the helping verb and according to the tense or time of the sentence we use the non-finite verbs. Now, how many forms of verbs are there? How many forms of verbs are there? The question is, well, I think you people have studied in your 6th, 7th, 8th class. You must have studied about the verb forms and the kind of or the type of verbs. Do not confuse with form of verbs and the kinds of verbs. So kinds of verbs like transitive, intransitive, and the forms of verbs, you talk about the first form, second form, or the third form. Yes? So students, you have learnt, you have studied about these forms and you call them first form, second form, third form, ing form. These names you people have given. But I am telling you the original name of these forms. Technically, grammatically, we do not call them first, second, third. These are not names of these verbs. These are not technical or grammatical names. These names are just for the easiness of the students and teachers, and you can say for our better understanding. Now, what are their original grammatical names? If you find in the Oxford Dictionary or any standard book, you will see their names, not first, second, third. You will not find in any standard book. So how many forms of verbs are there? Mostly you will talk about the 3 forms and the 4 forms. Now the students who have studied in my class, they know very well how many forms are there, and once again I repeat, there are 5 forms of verbs are there. I write here their names: present, the past, and past participle, and present participle, or infinitive. So students, these 5 forms are there. When we talk about form of verb, a form changes 5 types. It makes 5 type of changes. You take any example of any form, like I write here, write. Write is a verb. Now, in present form, we have 2 forms, one write and one is writes. And here you can say, like, you know, sometimes you add s or es with the verb like that. But actually these are 2 forms. 2 forms. We do not form them. They are already formed. And past, wrote. Past participle, in short, we call PP form. This is PR form, PT form, PRP form, infinitive form. These are short forms. And written, and writing, or to write, and basic form write. They are to write. One more example you can see here: play, plays, played, played, playing, to play, and play. Well, students, now see, these are 5 forms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now see, these are 5 forms. This way you can make the forms of other forms like make, makes, make, makes, made, made, making, to make, make. Okay. Teach, teaches, taught, taught, teaching, to teach or teach. Run, runs, ran, run, running, to run or run. See, sees, saw, seen, seeing, to see, see. So you can make forms of any verb, any action form or non-action forms. Now, the point is, these present and past forms are called the finite verbs. Now you will understand easily that present form or the past form. These 2 forms are called the finite verbs. And this part, past participle, present participle, and infinitive. These 3 forms are called non-finite verbs. Okay. So we have divided the verb into two parts, finite, non-finite group. Okay. In finite group, we have 5 forms of a verb. So we have divided present, past. These 2 forms are called finite verbs. Understand? And past participle, present participle, infinitive. These 3 forms are called non-finite verbs. So students, in this class we have known the part of verbs. In 2 categories we divide, finite or non-finite. In finite verbs, what we call finite? We call the present form or the past form of any verb. These call finite verbs. Okay. And non-finite verb, past participle, present participle or infinitive. These 3 forms are called non-finite verbs. So for the today's class, you will just remind the verb category and the forms, and what is finite and non-finite verb, and the forms of verbs, and what we call finite, and what forms we keep in finite, and what forms we keep in the non-finite verb. So this is your homework also. You will make this type of chart in your fair notebook, and we will continue now with the finite or non-finite verb in your next video class. By the time, thank you so much and enjoy your time.